Very good morning, students. The last few days we were discussing the second chapter of your English literature, Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. Dear students, we have already done with the chapter. In this video, we'll discuss certain important points of this chapter. So I hope everyone please sit with a pen and a paper or a notebook where you can note down the important points. So dear students, first we'll discuss about the introduction. What Nelson Mandela is discussing throughout this chapter. This chapter is an extract from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. He became the first non-white president of South Africa in 1994. Please note down this year. He became the first non-white president of South Africa in 1994. The chapter describes Mandela's views about freedom, his struggles for freedom, and the help he received from the people of his nation. It also tells about the ceremonial installation of the first democratic government of South Africa. Dear students, actually this was the messages. Actually, this was the thing Nelson Mandela is discussing through this chapter. Now, dear students, we will discuss one by one. Dear students, first point is installation and swearing. What is installation and swearing? The installation democracy of South Africa. South Africa's first democratic and non-racial government was to take place on 10th May 1994. I repeat, please note down the date and year. It was 10th May 1994. Many leaders of the world had come to attend the installation ceremony. The venue of the ceremony was the amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. Nelson Mandela's daughter also was accompanied him. And dear students, this was the first point. Now we'll move to the second point. What is the second point? Promise of hope and glory. So we have seen Nelson Mandela is giving a promise to the society, the promise to the people. Nelson Mandela, he addressed the guest and the world at large. He promised to provide great hope and glory to the newborn freedom. He resolved to create a society that people would feel proud of. He also thanked the people who had helped him in Africa's struggle for democracy and its freedom. Mandela assured all the people to end discrimination of all kinds. He resolved never to allow his people experience any kind of oppression of one by another. So this was our second point. What was the second point? Promise of hope and glory. Dear students, now we'll move to the third point, a splendid show of loyalty to the democracy. After the installation, South African jets and helicopters made a spectacular show over the Union buildings. It was their way of showing military's loyalty to the democratically elected government. The General of South African Defence Force and police saluted Mandela and expressed their loyalty. The two nations' national anthem were played on the day. So, dear students, we have already seen there were two national anthems. One was belongs to the black and another one was belongs to the white. And he says very clearly, the white people hate the national anthem of black, and black people they hate the national anthem of white. So that was the reason the both community, the white and the black, they were unknown about the lyrics of each other's national anthem. Now dear students, we'll move to the fourth point, tracing of history, which is very important. Nelson Mandela then he traces the history of the political developments from the first decade of 20th century. The white people in South Africa got together and developed a system of racial demonstration or discrimination against the blacks. It resulted in a very cruel society. That system has been demolished. A few system based on equal rights for all has been developed. This had this has been possibly possible only because of the sacrifices made by many people. So this was an achievement of a group, those who worked for their basic freedom or their basic right, that is freedom. Now, dear students, we will discuss the fifth point. What is the fifth point? The policy of apartheid and its consequences. The system that separates people on the basis of their race caused much pain to the African people. The wound given by the system will take a long time to heal. On the other hand, people of great wisdom, courage, and generosity have also come out of this system. Such people are the greatest wealth of a country. These people they taught many things to Mandela. He also learned the courage is not the absence of fear and the victory over it. Here he gives a very beautiful definition to the courage. What he told? He told that the courage, what is courage? Courage is the victory over the fear. That is courage. So, dear students, I hope that you are noting down. So, now we'll move to the sixth point. What is the sixth point? Two obligations of man. Nelson Mandela, he believes that every man has two types of obligations. One has obligation towards his family, and the second was towards one's nation. In a country where one race oppresses the other, these obligations cannot be easily fulfilled. Mandela he realized this when he became an adult. It increased his desire for freedom. He started thinking about the freedom in terms of group of people or as a race. It made him bold. At this time, he joined the African National Congress. So, he very clearly says in the chapter. So, this was the reason he joined in African National Congress or ANC. So, now, dear students, we'll move further to the seventh point. What is the seventh point? Seventh point is the realization of slavery and intense desire of freedom. So, what this point tells about? It is the desire of the freedom of the people as a whole animated Mandela's life. From a law abiding attorney, he became a criminal in the eyes of law. The government they treated Nelson Mandela as a criminal. He did not enjoy the freedom allowed to him when he found that his own people were not free. He also realized that the person who enslaves others is a prisoner of hatred. The oppressor and the one who is oppressed lack the true sense of humanity. So, this point also, which is very important, the realization of slavery, intense desire of freedom. Now, dear students, we'll move to the eighth point, which is theme. What was the theme of this chapter? This autobiographical piece focus on the need and significance freedom for a nation. A nation enslaved by foreigners or enslaved by other people cannot feel proud and become a self-dependent. Slavery is the worst thing they can undergo at any time. This was realized by Nelson Mandela when he became an adult. The desire to achieve freedom for his people greatly inspired him to lead a struggle against this white people. He had to suffer a lot. As a result of it, he achieved his freedom. But he did not give up. Out of all these struggles, he was not ready to give up. His struggles and fight resulted in the freedom of his people a long last. South Africa became free on 10th May 1994 as a result of his struggle. Dear student, again I repeat, please note down the date. Now, dear students, we'll move to the final point, the message, the ninth one. The lesson gives a clear-cut message. Freedom for a nation is more important than even the bread and butter. We must fight against the slavery in any form. Enslaved persons cannot live a life of dignity and self-respect. This is what Nelson Mandela wants us to realize. He also tells that as against all kinds of prejudice, we should not hate even those who oppresses us. The oppressors are the prisoners of hatred. We are to free them from their hatred. We must remember the oppressed and the oppressor are robbed of their humanity. So, dear students, these are the 9 important points from this chapter. So, dear students, please read and understand the chapter well so you will be able to answer all the questions. I hope everybody you have noted down these 9 points. So, dear students, along with this video, I have attached a PDF file of 2 short questions. So, please read the chapter before you answer the question.